Chapter 3 of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, titled Faith, Visualization and Belief in the Attainment of Desire, centers on the idea that faith is the emotional and psychological force that transforms desire into reality. Hill argues that faith is not a mystical gift reserved for a chosen few, nor is it dependent upon religious doctrine alone. Rather, it is a state of mind that can be consciously cultivated through disciplined thought, repetition, and emotional intensity. According to Hill, every major achievement begins with a definite purpose, but purpose alone is insufficient unless it is reinforced by unwavering belief. Faith acts as the vitalizing agent that gives life, power, and direction to thoughts. Without faith, desire remains a wish. With faith, desire becomes a compelling force capable of influencing behavior, decisions, and ultimately outcomes. Hill insists that belief is not passive acceptance but active conviction. An internal certainty so strong that it shapes one's perception of reality and directs one's subconscious mind toward opportunities and solutions aligned with that belief. Hill emphasizes that the subconscious mind plays a central role in the development of faith. He explains that the subconscious does not differentiate between thoughts that are true and those that are imagined. It accepts as reality whatever thoughts are repeatedly impressed upon it with emotion. This principle forms the foundation of his argument. If an individual consistently feeds the subconscious mind with thoughts of confidence, success, and prosperity, those thoughts begin to influence actions and habits in ways that align with achievement. Conversely, if one dwells on fear, doubt, and limitation, the subconscious absorbs those impressions just as readily, producing hesitation, insecurity, and self-sabotage. Thus, faith must be intentionally cultivated by choosing which thoughts to reinforce. Hill describes this process as deliberate conditioning of the mind, akin to planting seeds in fertile soil. The nature of the harvest depends entirely upon the seeds planted. A key mechanism for planting these mental seeds is autosuggestion, a concept introduced in the previous chapter but expanded upon in Chapter 3. Autosuggestion refers to the practice of consciously repeating affirmations or statements of desire in order to influence the subconscious mind. Hill advises readers to write a clear and specific statement of their financial goal, including the exact amount of money they intend to acquire, the time frame for its acquisition, and the service or value they will provide in exchange. This statement should be read aloud at least twice daily, preferably upon waking and before sleeping, while vividly imagining the possession of the desired wealth. Through repetition and emotional engagement, the statement begins to feel real, and belief gradually replaces doubt. Hill maintains that at first, these affirmations may feel artificial or forced, but persistence eventually transforms them into genuine conviction. The process mirrors the development of a habit. Repetition ingrains thought patterns until they become automatic. Emotion, in Hill's view, is the catalyst that accelerates the transmission of thought from the conscious to the subconscious mind. Mere repetition of words without feeling is insufficient. The individual must experience the emotions associated with already possessing the goal: gratitude, excitement, confidence, and pride. When thought is combined with emotion, it acquires magnetic power. Hill suggests that this combination of repetition and feeling is what distinguishes effective faith-building from empty recitation. Emotion energizes belief, and belief reshapes behavior. For example, a person who truly believes in their ability to succeed approaches challenges differently than someone plagued by doubt. They persist longer, recover more quickly from setbacks, and interpret obstacles as temporary rather than permanent. Faith thus influences not only internal attitudes but also external actions. Hill also explores the relationship between faith and self-confidence. He provides a self-confidence formula designed to reinforce belief in one's abilities. The formula encourages individuals to recognize that thoughts dominate the mind, that consistent positive thinking builds character, and that one's mental attitude influences others. By committing to daily repetition of this formula, individuals gradually eliminate negative influences and strengthen their sense of personal power. Hill underscores that confidence is not arrogance, it is grounded assurance based on disciplined thinking. The individual who develops faith in themselves becomes less susceptible to criticism and less dependent on external validation. They rely instead on an inner conviction that guides their decisions. An important aspect of the chapter is Hill's warning about the destructive power of negative influences. Just as faith can be cultivated through positive repetition, fear can be cultivated through negative repetition. Hill identifies fear as the primary enemy of success, suggesting that fear arises from doubt and uncertainty. When individuals allow negative opinions, discouraging environments, or self-critical thoughts to dominate their minds, they inadvertently train their subconscious to expect failure. This expectation shapes behavior in subtle but powerful ways. A person who fears rejection may avoid opportunities altogether. One who fears poverty may make overly cautious decisions that limit growth. Hill's remedy is vigilance. One must guard the mind against negativity and deliberately replace it with constructive thoughts. This mental discipline is not a one-time effort but a continuous practice. Visualization plays a central role in strengthening faith. Hill encourages readers to create a mental image of their desired outcome with as much detail as possible. By consistently picturing themselves in possession of their goal, they begin to align their subconscious mind with that image. Visualization enhances belief because it makes the goal feel tangible. The brain responds to vivid imagery in ways similar to actual experience, reinforcing neural pathways associated with confidence and capability. Over time, the imagined scenario begins to influence real-world behavior. The individual becomes more attuned to opportunities that support the vision and more resilient in pursuing it. Visualization, therefore, is not mere daydreaming but intentional mental rehearsal. Hill further argues that faith is contagious. Individuals who exude confidence and conviction inspire similar feelings in others. This dynamic is particularly important in leadership and entrepreneurship. A leader who genuinely believes in a vision can persuade others to adopt that vision. Conversely, uncertainty breeds skepticism. Hill suggests that successful individuals often possess an almost unshakable faith in their mission, which enables them to endure criticism and temporary defeat. Their belief sustains them during periods when external evidence of success is lacking. In this sense, faith acts as a stabilizing force, maintaining momentum even in adversity. Another significant theme in the chapter is the reciprocal relationship between belief and action. While faith influences action, action also reinforces faith. When individuals take steps toward their goals, even small ones, they gather evidence of progress. This evidence strengthens belief, which in turn motivates further action. The cycle continues, creating upward momentum. Hill emphasizes that waiting for absolute certainty before acting is counterproductive. Instead, one must act in accordance with the belief they wish to develop. Courageous action gradually eliminates doubt. In this way, faith is both a cause and a consequence of persistent effort. Hill also addresses the idea that faith has practical, measurable outcomes. He references historical examples of individuals who achieved extraordinary success through unwavering belief in their ideas. Though circumstances differed, these individuals shared a common trait: they refused to accept defeat as final. Their conviction enabled them to reinterpret failure as temporary and to persist despite setbacks. Hill suggests that the line separating success from failure is often thin, and that many abandon their efforts just before achieving breakthrough results. Faith sustains persistence during these critical moments. The chapter delves into the psychological principle that thoughts tend to externalize themselves. Hill posits that dominant mental attitudes attract corresponding circumstances. While this concept may appear abstract, he frames it in practical terms. A positive mental attitude influences how one perceives and responds to events, thereby shaping outcomes. For example, two individuals facing identical challenges may experience different results depending on their beliefs. The one who views obstacles as opportunities for growth is more likely to find creative solutions, while the one who perceives them as insurmountable barriers may give up. Faith alters interpretation, and interpretation guides behavior. Hill's exploration of faith also touches upon the importance of environment. He advises readers to associate with individuals who support and encourage their ambitions. Repeated exposure to skepticism can weaken belief, whereas exposure to optimism can strengthen it. The human mind is highly receptive to suggestion, and social surroundings significantly influence thought patterns. Therefore, cultivating faith requires intentional selection of influences. This may involve limiting contact with negative individuals and seeking mentors or peers who embody confidence and success. Throughout the chapter, Hill maintains that faith is inseparable from desire. A weak desire cannot sustain strong faith. Only a burning, definite purpose provides sufficient motivation to overcome doubt. When desire is intense, individuals are more willing to engage in the repetitive mental conditioning required to build belief. They are also more resilient in the face of temporary defeat. Hill suggests that many failures stem not from lack of ability but from insufficient desire. Without deep commitment, faith falters at the first sign of difficulty. Hill's message ultimately converges on the principle that belief shapes destiny. The human mind is portrayed as a powerful instrument capable of influencing both internal states and external realities. By consciously directing thoughts, reinforcing them through repetition and emotion, and acting in alignment with them, individuals can transform abstract aspirations into concrete achievements. Faith is the bridge that connects imagination to accomplishment. It converts possibility into probability and probability into reality. In essence, Chapter 3 asserts that success is not solely a matter of external conditions but of internal conviction. Circumstances may present obstacles, but belief determines response. Faith empowers persistence, resilience, creativity, and courage. It quiets fear and replaces it with expectation of success. Hill's central claim is bold yet consistent. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, provided that belief is nurtured with discipline and reinforced with action. Faith, therefore, is not blind optimism but a cultivated mental state rooted in clarity of purpose, repetition of affirmations, emotional intensity, and unwavering commitment. Through deliberate practice, anyone can develop this state of mind and harness it as a driving force toward their goals.